All right, so these are basically two of the lightest 40-inch bands that you can buy. This yellow one's super light. This one's kind of light too. So on here, it will say H for heavy, L for light, and then you'll do 3 of these at eye level, and then you'll move it down. So this is like shoulder height, and then you move these down to about knee height, and then you do the rest of these. The order doesn't matter too much, but that'll give you an idea of how this works. So first one's a rope with the heavier band, so you just take this red band. We're gonna go back and hold for 2 seconds. So we're gonna stand back here, pull back, pinch the shoulder blades behind together. On the back, 2 seconds. Pull back. 2-second hold. Usually I do 8 to 10 reps there. The next one will be with the lighter band. It's a reverse fly. So you're gonna go here, pull back, hold for 2 seconds. Two-second hold on that one also. 8 to 10 reps on all of these. This next one's with the heavier band. It's going to be a pull down. Focus on pinching your shoulder blades together behind your back as you come back down. So those are the 3 higher ones. Lower down to knee height. Next one's external rotation. This one can be kind of hard, so you definitely need the light band for this one. But keep your elbows here, keep them in the same spot. And externally rotate here. Two-second hold, 10 reps. This one, you will step inside the band. And it says low band, but I usually use the red band for this, but it doesn't really matter. Just kind of go by feel. But here, pull up. Yeah, this is a little too easy. You'll probably use the red band for this one. Last is the press. Again, use the red band for this one. I just already have this one set up. Just kind of pressing up and out. What else? This last one is overhead. Sometimes I skip the press one because I don't feel like it does a lot. But this one's a good one for external rotation. So those are the movements, 8 to 10 reps of those for a warm up. You can also kind of do some pulsing with them. So like the last one, I could go up and go just to get a little bit different feel on that. So if you do that like every day, 10 reps, you'll kind of be feeling it in your upper back, your shoulder blades. So that's a really good shoulder prep. Kind of helps strengthen with that. Now we'll go over some mobility stuff. All right, we'll do some mobility stuff just to help open up those shoulders, just to give you a better range of motion. You've probably seen these before. They're pretty common, most of them. My favorite is just the lat opener. So over a band. I use a really heavy band and I try to really load up with this. I'll just take my hand, grab it inside here. Sometimes I'll wrap it around just to make sure it doesn't slip off. But then I'll load it up real high. And then lean back. And then drive that head underneath the arm. And then kind of open up. So you can move around a little bit here, kind of find those tight spots. And just feel the pull down through the lats. So you probably do that about 90 seconds, 2 minutes each side to open that up. Another one is this overhead here, just taking it back overhead. This feels very similar to that last one. I like the last one a little bit better, but you can kind of change this one by going elbow out and leaning back here. So that'll kind of twist it back into more of an external rotation. And you'll feel it kind of all the way through that rotator cuff. So again, you can hang with both of those. Those are two of my favorites. I'll give you another one, a little thoracic opener. All right, we got one more I forgot to mention. We did a lot of opening up the front, but let's open up the back a little bit. So obviously if you want to open up your back and your spine, you can grab a lacrosse ball and dig in there. So I usually start with digging in there real good with the lacrosse ball, try to loosen everything up. But then another one you can do is just take this and fold it across the body. So grab here, get your other arm, put it over top, and then lean into it. You can just kind of feel it pull across your back. So feel it all back here. Lean into it. Hang out there. Again, that's just another one that'll kind of get in the back. So I didn't get anything for the back. There's also other things you can do, like light dumbbells or like 5-pound plates or 2.5-pound plates. And do some like T's, Y's, W's. You could probably just search those. They're everywhere online. But basically, they're take the light weights, bend over flat, real slow and controlled, out there, and then doing all that. That's working a lot of the same things as the bands and the crossover symmetry, but you can just use 2.5-pound plates instead of the bands. Sometimes it's easier just to grab those and go in the corner. Generally the same thing as like what the crossover symmetry is doing now. All right, next one's a little thoracic opener. Basically, you're gonna take this, it's gonna go start up. You can kind of use this a couple of different ways. So basically, if you go up higher, you'll feel it in your shoulders more. If you go down lower in your spine, you'll feel it kind of in the mid-back more. But definitely wanna get all positions. I usually spend more time up high because I'm a little tighter in the shoulders. So I think that'll benefit you more. But if you can get your back in a better position when doing overhead squats and presses, it'll be easier on your shoulders also. So right here, it's right across my shoulder blades. Snatch grip. You can go narrow grip too. It'll just feel a little different. Either one's fine. But right here, lower the butt down. So start up, grab onto the bar, lower the butt down, and then take your belly, your rib cage, and try to sink it towards the floor if you don't feel much here. So you can just kind of hang out here, or you can go here, like I said before. This will kind of give you just a little bit different stretch. And then you can kind of work it lower. And again, this is less on the shoulders, a little bit more on the low back, or the thoracic. All right, here's another opener. This one will feel very similar to the last one we just did. Kind of easier to set up, but I definitely recommend doing both and mixing it up. So just set a bar up at like belly height, and then start narrow if you want. Basically, right here, you hang out here. You can go wide too, again, it'll feel a little different. So move the grip in and out, play around with it, see what you like, and do a little bit of everything. But again, that'll help you get in a position when you're overhead here to not be pressing like this, to try to keep everything stacked vertically. So when you're doing your presses or your snatches, you're here instead of back here. So that's some more mobility. I'll give you a couple kettlebell things too. Here's a few kettlebell things. Simple one, windmill. So you take the kettlebell overhead, wide stance. So you're going to kind of bend at like a 45-degree angle. Go down, touch the inside of the foot, and then stand back up. Like 10 reps. You can just throw that into warm-ups too. Another one is just to grab a heavier kettlebell and just warm up with a walk. So you could even like grab one light one here, one heavy one here and a heavy one there, and just do a walk as a warm up. like that. Like walk 50 feet right, 50 feet left for 3 rounds. That'll just help with activating everything. It's not super hard. If you want to throw these into workouts and build some shoulder strength while doing other stuff, you can make it a little bit harder by lunging with them. If you want to make it very difficult, 2 kettlebells overhead. That's going to require a lot more stability and a lot more mobility to get 2 of them overhead, because with 1 you can kind of adjust by leaning a little bit. 2 will be much harder. So if you can get there, go for that. Lastly, this is actually probably one of my favorite movements for shoulder stability, is just the Turkish get up. I usually throw these in an EMOM of 10. So I'll do like 1 right, 1 left, every minute on the minute for 10 minutes. And I'll just build to heavier weights. What I like about them is doing a lot of core stability, but it's also requiring you to stabilize that weight in several different positions and throughout bigger range of motions as you're doing it. So it's not just holding one position, it's doing a lot of different positions, which is help build strength in some of those smaller synergist muscles. So you've probably done these before, but basically start here, right knees up, right hands up, arms out to the side, roll onto that elbow, to that hand. This foot's planted, this one's here. I'm gonna go on my wrist or my fist here. Lift your butt up to there, keep an eye on the kettlebell, and from there, stand up, back down, swing through, and control it back down. Right here, be careful that you don't drop your elbows to the floor. If you need to bail it away from you, because a couple years ago, I actually hurt my hand. I was doing a heavy weight and I dropped my elbow to the floor and loaded onto my wrist. And kind of messed my hand up for a couple weeks, so just be careful with that. Try to control it all the way through. But those get hard. By the time you do 10 or 20 of those, 10 each arm, and over a 10-minute span, you're pretty warmed up and ready to go. But all those are good different things. So do some mobility, do some stability stuff. Often, if I have a shoulder day, I'll start with crossover symmetry, do my workout, and then I'll do like Turkish get-ups either before or after. Doesn't really matter, just as extra stability stuff. And then I'll do my mobility afterwards. And that'll kind of be like a full shoulder day. I hit all my mobility and my stability stuff in one day.